Hello friends and family, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We are Tom and Melissa and we are really happy that you are joining us for this video. Today is July 3rd, 2023. Tomorrow is the 4th of July and we think the 4th of July is a very, very important day. It is the birth date of our country. In fact, this year our country is 247 years old. In 1776, a lot of men and women stood up to declare their independence from England. 56 men were brave enough to put their names on the Declaration of Independence. And by doing so, they were putting their lives on the line. They wanted to found a new country on the principles of God and the Bible. And we are so thankful that they did that. So one of the ways that we honor them and one of the ways that we celebrate the birth of our country is by having a cookout or a potluck or a get-together with friends and family. Usually that includes some grilled hamburgers and hot dogs and a lot of side items and desserts. So today we are going to fix a side item to go with your 4th of July celebration tomorrow. We're fixing baked beans. What's more American than baked beans? So let's talk about what we need to go into this dish. Now I got this dish years and years and years ago, and I think it came out of a telephone operator's cookbook that the nurse gave me, the nurse that worked at our school gave me for a Christmas gift. So I've used this for a long, long time. I've seen this recipe many other places since then, but here's what you're going to need. You need about 30 ounces of baked beans. Now the original recipe from years ago called for 2 15-ounce cans, but I buy the big cans of baked beans anymore, and they're actually 28 ounces. So I just use Bush's Original. It does have some bacon and brown sugar in it, but it will be fine. Just make sure you have about 30 ounces of baked beans. You're also going to need 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I like light brown sugar in this, but if you have dark brown sugar, that will work too. I do not pack in my brown sugar. You know, there are a lot of recipes that say to use packed brown sugar where you just pack it in tight and get as much in there as you possibly can. Well, with this recipe, I just kind of lightly spoon it in and level it off because we don't want them to be overpoweringly sweet. So just a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You also need 1/2 cup of ketchup. You need 1/2 of an onion chopped. Now, I'll tell you that this is an entire onion. It was kind of a medium onion, but I went ahead and chopped the whole thing because we're going to use the rest of it in our hamburger meat for our hamburgers tomorrow. And you can see that I have, oops, I just dropped some. You can see that I have chopped it pretty fine. It's a fairly fine chop because you don't want huge chunks of onion not to get done in your baked beans. You're also going to need 1 tablespoon of yellow mustard, 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and this is an optional ingredient. You can put in 1 teaspoon of vinegar. You can use white wine vinegar like I'm using today. You can use red wine vinegar. You can even just use apple cider vinegar. But you don't have to put this in at all. Sometimes I put it in, sometimes I don't. It just depends on my mood, I guess. But today I am going to put it in. And then you just need some salt and pepper to taste. I usually don't put much salt in it because your beans, your ketchup, you know, those things already have quite a bit of salt in them. So I usually don't put much salt, if any, but I will put a pinch or 2 of black pepper. But that's entirely up to you. If you want salt in it, feel free to add a pinch or 2. This is a really easy recipe because all you do is dump it together, stir it, pour it in your dish, and bake it. We will be using a 9x9 baking dish, and I have sprayed it with non-stick cooking spray. It won't keep the baked beans from sticking. Baked beans are sticky, and so they stick to your pan. But spraying it will help the cleanup later. It'll make it much easier to clean up. Okay, here we go. You're going to be shocked at how easy this one is. You just put your beans in a bowl. Make sure it's one that's big enough to hold everything. Make sure you get everything out of there. You want them all to come to the 4th of July party. So get all that juice and all those beans. I apologize for that sound, but I want all that out there. Okay, then we're just going to dump in our brown sugar. We'll pour in our ketchup. We're going to add our onion, and I'm only going to use about half of this because it does say to use half of an onion, and I did chop up a whole one. 1 tablespoon of mustard. Whoop, and I got it all over me. Hang on a minute. If you cook, you know things like that happen in the kitchen. That is not unusual. So we're just going to put in 1 tablespoon, and you might think, well, 1 tablespoon is not much. How could that change the taste of it or do anything for it? But I promise you it does. It does help it. You want that tablespoon of yellow mustard in there. And you know, if you've got Dijon mustard or something, I guess that would be fine too. I've never done that, but whatever mustard you have, I always just use yellow mustard. Then 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And that will really enhance the flavor. Oh, I should have kept that. And then 1 teaspoon of vinegar, if you decide you want to use that. Do not feel like you have to, because it is not necessary. It does just, I don't know, gives it a little bit of a twang. And if you don't like that, then feel free to leave it out. I am not going to use salt just because I feel like the other ingredients have enough, but if you want to, feel free to. But I am going to add a generous pinch of pepper. And then we just mix it up. You know, it's unusual for me to do this and use 1 can of baked beans. Usually if I'm making this, I use at least 2 30-ounce cans, or sometimes I do 3 or 4. Because usually we're taking it to a potluck, or we have people over, or, you know, it's for a family get-together. But this year on the 4th of July, it's just the 2 of us. So I'm only using 1 can of baked beans. This is a very simple recipe to double or triple or quadruple, whatever you want to do. So if you're having a crowd, feel free to increase this like I usually do. This amount, this 1 can, I would think would easily feed, what, Melissa, 6 people?
Yeah.
4 to 6 people
have a lot of
easily.
But we like leftovers.
We love leftovers. You know, I think I've said it before on here. My cooking philosophy is cook once, eat twice. But my wife and kids would tell you it's more like cook once, eat 4 times.
That's a nice thing too.
Not a thing in the world wrong with leftovers. Don't throw away your leftovers. Be frugal. Okay, so that's all there is to it.
This will be nice and thick.
Yes. Now, we are going to put this into a 350 degree preheated oven with this amount, with just 1 can, 30 ounces, 2 15-ounce cans or 1 large can. I'm going to say start checking it at about 40, 45 minutes. You want it to thicken up, but you don't want it to be like wallpaper paste. You want it thickened a little bit, but you don't want it to be so thick you have to dig it out of there. If you're going to double, triple it and use a 9x13 pan, you'll probably want to bake it closer to an hour. So just check it, keep an eye on it. I will start checking this one at about 40, 45 minutes and see what it's like. And when it's ready, we'll bring you back. Our baked beans have been baking for about 50 to 55 minutes, and I think they're ready. Let's take them out. And there they are. Now you do need to remember that as they cool, they will thicken slightly. So you don't want to bake them to the point that they are completely thickened, because they will thicken as they cool. All right. These are going to be hot. Can you come in here and let me show you something? You can see here in the middle that they're still a little soupy, but look around the edges. You can see that they're thicker here around the edges. So if you want to, you can just kind of stir them away from the edge. Won't hurt them at all. Just stir them up and get that juice back into them. All right, here we go. You want the first bite?
No. I'm not putting something that hot in my mouth. I can't believe you're going to.
Well, I have to do a taste test, right? I have to blow on it first. Again, so I couldn't put it in my mouth like this. It would burn me up. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Plenty sweet. That little bit of vinegar gives it just a little bit of a tart taste. That is so good. All right, I think if you make these for your 4th of July celebration, they'll be a hit. They are so, so good. All right, thank you for watching our channel. If you would, we'd appreciate you going right below this video and clicking the thumbs up. That just says you liked our video, and the more thumbs up, more likes we get, the more our video gets shared. If you've not already, we would appreciate you clicking the subscribe button and subscribing to our channel. Right beside of it is a little notification bell. If you'll click that and the word all, then YouTube will notify you every time we add a new video. And remember that right under this video is a box. It has the title of the video, and if you click in that box, it will expand the box. And Melissa always puts the written recipes in that box under the video so that you can look at the written recipe. All right. Thank you again. And remember, you are always welcome to come sit at our table. God bless America.